Greetings and salutations and welcome to a warm and wonderful July morning. It's the 28th day of July, 2022. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's warm already. I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I know, but I do. And when I toddled into the office about 4:45 this morning at the Broadcast Metroplex, it was 81 degrees. Now, we've cooled down a couple. It's 79. Our record high on this date is 105 degrees. That was set back in 1998. And I think we're going to blow right past that by a couple of degrees. The excessive heat warning still in effect. It was 105 yesterday. We're going to be above that, I think, by a degree or two, or maybe even 3. Get ready for a record high temperature. We're going to do it again tomorrow. Gradual cool down, and I mean gradual, but that big dome of high pressure has now moved pretty much right over the top of Washington State. It is warm everywhere you go. Doesn't matter. Your hot forecast is coming up. Your news, which is fairly warm as well, will be coming up. The Mariners broke out the brooms, took care of the Rangers, and now this is a huge, huge series. Now, I know the games count just as much in April as they do in September, but they're heading down to Houston to take on the Astros. Who's kidding who? The Astros have had the Mariners' number for about 10 years now, but this is the team we're chasing, and the Mariners are back to playing pretty good baseball. Apple Sox took one on the chin last night, and we'll talk Seahawks training camp. It's now in full swing at the BMAC in Renton. It is Thursday. Pause for pets. Layla the cat needs a home. Layla. And a couple days ago, I had a chance to sit down here at Studio B, and I talked to Reshad Ahmad Noori and Doug Head. Reshad is a native of Afghanistan, a contractor for NATO. The Taliban, as you well know by now, have kind of flexed their muscles. We have pulled out. Reshad and his family escaped. They are now living here in Wenatchee. It's a harrowing story with a fairly good ending, but now they kind of have to start from zero, and some local folks are helping out Reshad and his family. So Reshad and Doug Head, who is helping Reshad make the adjustments to living here in the Wenatchee Valley, will be joining me in the back half of the program. You do not want to miss that interview. It's 3 minutes after the hour. Let's get going. What do we have out there? With our cameras around the valley, or PTZs, once again, as usual, the Wenatchee Heights camera begins our tour. When it gets this hot for this long, we start getting kind of hazy conditions. Now, the air quality is pretty good. That's not the problem. Could see a little high particles from 2 sets of fires, one up in British Columbia, and of course you already know about the wildfires down in California. There's really no place for that smoke and particles to go, so could get a little bit of that. That's where that's coming from. Outside of that, it's just plain hot. Good morning to the valley. And it doesn't take a long time to be exposed to this heat before you just start wilting. Right around 10 o'clock in the morning until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, are you kidding me? Camera 2. Good morning to the old station industrial area and Omi Gardens and Sunny Slope and off in the distance monitor. And look, there's a little bit of snow way up there in the left-hand side of your screen up at the top. That sounds good, doesn't it? That's the Cougar Ridge camera in the far northern part of the East Wenatchee Bench, looking over that area. That's a nice view there. Good morning to our friends out there in Old Station. Camera 3. We chime in with the Rock Island camera. I think that is. Yep, that's way up above a ridge, high above Rock Island. So we're looking out towards Mission Ridge, Malaga, the Stamil Basin. Way off to your right is the Wenatchee Heights. You can see the East Wenatchee Bench. Beautiful view there. Good morning to Rock Island. And camera number 4. Good morning, Lake Chelan. Boy, that place will be popping this weekend. We're in full vacation mode. It's going to be hot. The water is going to feel good. That's from the very tip top of McNeil Canyon. That is a very high camera on top of a very high tower. Hello, Lake Chelan. I hope you have a good weekend. You're going to be busy. People will be hopping in and getting relief from this very hot temperatures. In fact, it is a very high heat risk. We rarely see this. We saw this last June into July. There are 4 levels of heat risk, and this is the hottest one of them all. That purple thing. That means all kinds of bad things can happen, and it doesn't really matter what your overall health condition is, how old you are. If you're outside for very long at all in this kind of heat, especially if you're not used to it and you don't have any air conditioning. It can really get to you. Once again, common sense rules the day. If you're out and about and you start feeling it, just get inside. And maybe the most important thing of all, keep yourself hydrated. Even if you're not thirsty, they advise you that you drink water so you can stay ahead of the game. Highs yesterday, Omak 106, Ephrata 105, Moses Lake 105. We got to 105. How hot are we going to get to today? From the National Weather Service, how about 107? And we are well on our way. Again, our record high temperature on the state is 105 degrees, set back in 1998. We're going to beat that by a couple, it looks like. Very mild overnight low of 77 tonight. We do it again on Friday, another record-breaking high temperature of 107. The excessive heat warning goes all the way through Saturday at midnight, but it's still going to get hot on a Sunday. They're going to extend it. I can guarantee you that. 107, 107, 106, 107, baking hot for everybody, and then gradually, that big dome is going to slowly move its way out of here, and that is going to allow cooler air to come in and get us back down to where we should be this time of the year, which is about 89 or 90 degrees. It's just going to take a long time to get there. If you're looking for relief, real relief really isn't going to happen until Tuesday and Wednesday, but it's still going to be hot. Even on Tuesday and Wednesday, it's just all relative, I suppose. Did I mention it's warm out? 7 minutes after the hour, going to take a break, and we'll have your Thursday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
The Clearwater Saloon and Casino has the best Vegas-style games in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy yourself and discover the nightly action. Win big and meet new friends at the Clearwater Saloon and Casino. The 2022 Grant County Fair in Moses Lake is bigger and better than ever. Washington's largest egg-based fair features hundreds of animals, amazing food, and the Davis Carnival rides. And if that isn't enough, see supergroup Lone Star and country standout Cameron Marlowe on the Brian Miller stage. Come celebrate a return to normalcy with Stars, Stripes, and Fair Delights at the 2022 Grant County Fair. For tickets and more info, visit grantcountyfairgrounds.com.
It is 79 degrees in downtown Wenatchee, and it's only 7:08 in the morning. 107, our forecast afternoon high, which would be a new record. We'll do 107 again probably on Friday, close to it on Saturday and Sunday, before we finally get some relief from the oppressive heat. The man suspected of burglarizing several Leavenworth vacation homes and in Lake Wenatchee has now been formally charged with those crimes. Kevin Michael Waters of Leavenworth is being held on charges of possessing and trafficking stolen property that was taken during a series of break-ins over the winter and spring. On Tuesday, Chelan County prosecutors added counts of first-degree burglary, first-degree theft, theft of a firearm, and malicious mischief. Sheriff's deputies began to suspect the 33-year-old Waters when he had allegedly tried to sell about $50,000 worth of goods stolen in burglaries of vacation homes, as well as breaking into the Leavenworth Ski Lodge. We'll see how this story progresses. A man who rammed his car into a Wenatchee police patrol cruiser back in 2020 is going to serve a year and a day behind bars. 28-year-old Antonio Banuelos of East Wenatchee sentenced Tuesday in Douglas County Superior Court. He pled guilty to charges of eluding police, malicious mischief, fourth-degree assault, and hit and run. In May of 2020, Banuelos drove away in an orange Kia when a police officer tried to stop him in South Wenatchee, headed east across the Senator George Seller Bridge. During that chase, he crashed into a 9th Street guardrail and rammed the pursuing police car with his own car. Then he abandoned his vehicle and disappeared, but the officer in the car, who suffered minor injuries, found his ID in the car, and police later arrested Banuelos about 24 hours later. Firefighters had to extinguish a fire burning in heavy brush and trees. This happened early yesterday morning at the bottom of 19th Street, up at the Douglas County side of the Apple Capital Loop Trail. Kay McKellar with Douglas County Fire District 2 said the fire believed to have been human-caused, but there were no people around when firefighters arrived. The fire was first toned out at 5:38 yesterday morning off the trail access point at 19th Street in East Wenatchee by about 7:15. Firefighters had the fire contained to about a 75 by 75 foot area. Both Douglas County Fire District 2 and Chelan County Fire District 1 responded to that fire. Fire crews on Tuesday afternoon were busy, but they were able to contain a very remote wildfire. Burned about 600 acres back in Douglas County. The fire was east of Bridgeport in the direction of Grand Coulee. First toned out about 6:30 Tuesday morning, burning in grass and brush on Bureau of Land Management land near an area called Nillis Corner or Lehigh Junction. BLM, Douglas County Fire District 3 and 5, and firefighters from Electric City, Coulee Dam, Bridgeport, and Mansfield all responded. Air resources were deployed late Tuesday morning. They dropped water on the hot spots. The State Department of Natural Resources wildcard reports show the fire was contained at about 4:30 on Tuesday afternoon. And we continue our series of interviews with the candidates running for Chelan County Clerk. And this morning, it's Brandy Buck's turn. She is a 38-year-old real estate agent who's running for political office for the first time. She also admits she's coming into the race with some legal baggage. She's currently awaiting court hearings on 2 charges of driving on a suspended license related to a DUI she committed in 2009. She spoke about those issues with our very own Jefferson Robbins.
And I just want to get involved. I really just have the eagerness to help people. And I just want people to feel that and know that, I'm on their side and I'm going to fight for them, whatever their needs may be.
From your point of view, can you sort of outline what the Chelan County Clerk does for people?
Yeah. You're managing jurors, you're sitting in court minutes, you're delivering and processing court documents, you're going through processing applications for permits and passports. You're managing a team of about 19 people, whether that's your clerks or your court facilitators, and just making sure that everybody's on task and is very knowledgeable and has gone through proper training to provide quality customer service to the community.
People come in, they get trained in a clerical role or in a facilitator role, and then there's a better offer someplace else. How does the county clerk's office go about, or how should it go about, retaining people once they've come into the job?
I think this all comes back to budgeting properly and making sure that the taxpayers' money is spent properly. There's a whole bunch of different departments that we need to focus on, and obviously this is one of those departments that we really need to focus on, retaining quality workers. If they're moving somewhere else, there's got to be a reason for that, and we need to assess the situation and figure out a solution collectively.
Right now you're dealing with 2 cases of driving while license suspended, vehicular cases that are pending in Chelan County District Court, and those, as you told me before we went on the air, date back to a DUI arrest in 2009. Mm-hmm. And so when people see that record and attach your name to it, what would you say to them as far as how you're dealing with the situation and why they should look past it?
Like you said, it was a result of a DUI back in 2009, over 12 years ago, and there was somehow in there I got a speeding ticket, and it affected the status of my license somehow a few years ago, and I was unaware of this status change, and I got pulled over because of the status of my license, and these 2 tickets are kind of coinciding together, but my attorneys are working diligently on getting this matter resolved and hopefully getting it dismissed, because we think that there is an error because it was so long ago. So I just hope that we can really focus on supporting our local law enforcement on going after violent crime and the war on drugs, and I don't want to focus on something as minimal as a traffic violation.
And of course, you have until 8 o'clock on Tuesday, August 2nd, to get your ballots in to your local auditor's office, and that's what's making news On this Thursday morning, the news will come your way with the evening newscast at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. And with some of the stories we're working on, here's Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we will have our weekly Pause for Pets feature with the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. Scorching hot temperatures in the forecast right through this weekend. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Grantstrom has highlights of the Mariners-Rangers game yesterday as Seattle begins a big series against the Astros tonight. Also, he'll have a look at last night's Apple Sox Cowlitz game and a peek into Seahawks training camp. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. And don't forget, you're not locked into those times to watch it on television. You can watch it on our Facebook page and going to our homepage. We put the newscast up on the World Wide Web. And at the bottom of your screen are all the ways you can get a hold of us via our Facebook page, via our homepage, our email address, and our telephone number. When we come back, sports. Mariners win, Apple Sox don't. And the Seahawks are strapping on the helmets and hitting each other. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether,
we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
18 minutes after the hour, 81 degrees in downtown Wenatchee. Forecast out today of 107, but it's a dry heat, like a blowtorch. Mariners broke out the brooms, took care of the Rangers. The final yesterday afternoon, 4-2. I watched the game, very entertaining. Seattle got an early lead thanks to Sam Haggerty, but the day really belonged to Julio Rodriguez. He came through with a 3-run home run for the winning margin.
That's going to drop down, and JP's going to score, and the Mariners have a 1-0 lead. Frazier's going to get his way to third. Haggerty digging for second. He's in there. Hustle double RBI. Sam Haggerty, 1-0 Mariners.
3-0, and that's turned down the third baseline. That's a base hit. Around third, Garcia, he'll score. Culberson with the RBI double, and he's tied this game at 1.
I think she caught it, though.
I think so. Heim hits this one out into left. That's a base hit. Gets Hernandez to the plate. Heim goes for second, and he'll be in there with the RBI double. And the Rangers had their first lead this afternoon.
His throw was not bad. It was just off line. 1-1.
That will plenty do it. Say goodbye. Julio off the scoreboard. A 3-run jack, and the Mariners have a 4-2 lead. What a world to live in with Julio Rodriguez. Wow, his 18th home run. 3 more RBIs. Cha-ching, his 56th, and the Mariners have rallied once again.
There's the 0-1. Slow ground ball, Adam Frazier. Scoop, throw, got him. Mariners sweep the Texas Rangers.
Marco Gonzalez went 7 solid innings, and we needed that because the bullpen needed the rest. And, of course, the home run from Julio. After the game, manager Scott Service said, Marco do good, Julio do good.
We really needed starter to go deep today. Super efficient. Thought he was right on point right from the get-go. Obviously, he gave up a couple runs, but getting through 7 innings was huge based on kind of where we were at in the bullpen today. So great job by him. Offensively, it was a struggle. John Gray was on top of his game. That's really good stuff. And he's been throwing the ball great. Electric fastball. He's got one of the better sliders in the league, and we certainly saw a lot of them today. And he made very few mistakes, but when he did make one, we took advantage of it. And Julio did not miss it. So what can you say? That guy's had some kind of season. And I keep talking about the fun, the joy he plays with. But, as he's standing there ready to go up for that at bat before that, he says, I had to switch bats. I said, I got a new one. He said, yeah, the other one's sleeping. It's a day game. He's not ready to go. He took a new bat up there and hit a 3-run homer. That's Julio Rodriguez.
Mariners begin a 4-game set in Houston against the Astros. 5:10 first pitch on Root Sports Northwest. To the scoreboard we go. Jason Junk, a native of Federal Way, struck out 8 over 5 innings and combined with 4 relievers. Kansas City does not score any runs. LA shut him out 2-0. Oakland helped the Mariner cause. They swept Houston 4-2. We like that. So to the wild card standings we go. The Mariners are a half game back of Toronto for the top wild card spot with yesterday's win. Remember, it's expanded playoffs this year. Tampa Bay stay close with a 6-4 win over Baltimore. Cleveland is 2.5 back after they beat Boston 7-6. Chicago dropped to 4 games back. They lost to the Rockies. Apple Sox dropped the middle game of the 3-game series against Caldas last night, 10-4. Storm and Joel Norman tells us this game got out of hand pretty early.
The Apple Sox fell 10-4 on Wednesday night in the second game of their 3-game set against the Cowlitz Black Bears. Wenatchee trailed 7-0 after 3.5 innings and really was never able to get close enough after that. They did have a couple of innings where they loaded up the bases, but were able to get no more than 1 run in either of those frames. Iva Arquette led the way offensively, driving in 2 runs and going 3 for 4 with a walk, as he now leads the Apple Sox with 32 runs driven in this summer. The Apple Sox will look to take the rubber match of the series as they face the Black Bears at 7:05 p.m. on Thursday night. It's a Throwback Thursday with $2 general admission tickets available for purchase at saferseating.com. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
Thank you, Joel. Let's go ahead and go to the Les Schwab scoreboard. From the West Coast League, your winners last night in league action. Port Angeles swept Kelowna, Corvallis over Springfield, Edmonton shut out Kamloops in a tight one. Nanaimo over Bellingham, Bend over Ridgefield, Portland sneaks by Walla Walla, and the Hawkers in a non-league game beat Victoria. Wenatchee's lead in the North remains a game over Bellingham and Edmonton. They are 2.5 in front of Victoria. And training camp underway in Renton for the Seahawks. Players taking to the field for the first time yesterday. Coach Pete Carroll says this is the opportunity for players to show what they can do and compete for positions.
It's a big op to finally get going. I'm really thrilled about the energy that these guys have brought. The coaches did a really good job to get us to this point, so we're off and flying, and away we go. Every one of these days are huge. Every one of the preseason games are huge. We're going to need all of the time to make the competitions come to light, and so we can see who's who and who can take spots, and if guys can hold their spots and all that. So that's the theme is about the competition, and we'll see what it takes us to. And I'm really excited about how fast we are. It's a very, very fast team. I don't know if we've been faster, and we'll see if we can make that be obvious in how we use it in all different aspects.
As you already know by now, Chris Carson was forced to retire a couple of days ago because of that neck injury. Coach Pete Carroll said he was holding out hope that Chris would have one more good year still in him.
It was a shame, for the whole offseason, and we were talking to Chris the whole time, and and we were all trying to keep a really good thought that it was going to, maybe come through and change it. And each one of the marker days, that we took note, it didn't change, and he didn't get better. And so the last time that we hit it was probably about a month ago, and he hadn't made any progress then, so he's had some time to process this, that it's coming. So he worked like crazy to do it. He was going for it the whole way, and but as he said yesterday, I've had time to deal with it, and I'm okay about it now, and so he's moving ahead.
Special moment yesterday. KJ Wright came back to camp to sign a one-day contract so he could retire as a Seahawk.
The family came by today to kind of make it the ceremony kind of it, and it was real emotional. It was emotional for all of us, and it was a big deal for KJ to finally put his name on the dotted line there for the last time. And there was a moment there where we're looking at 11 seasons and 230 games and, all the years that he played, and he was just trying to suck it up and absorb it and see what, and he just got emotional about it like you think he should and would. He's a fantastic kid, and been a remarkable leader and performer and all that, but he's above all of that, he's a remarkable person, and I hope that we can always keep him close to the program, and I'm really glad that he's in the area and living here, and we have a bunch of guys that do live here, and I'm glad that he's kind of still in the fraternity of it all, so I hope we'll be able to do more work with KJ in the future.
I just thought of something. When I retire, I want to sign a one-day contract with the Yankees so I can retire as a Yankee. I think I'll give Hal Steinbrenner a call. Of course, they continue to prepare. They got 3 preseason games in the regular season, September 12th against the Denver Broncos and some guy named Wilson, whose name I forgot. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. On this Thursday, the 28th day of July, the 4th Thursday of each July is always National Refreshment Day. I mean, why not? It's hot, and it's going to stay hot. So cool yourself off with a nice refreshment. And because it's National Refreshment Day, we're going to talk about beer, which is the 3rd most popular refreshment in the world. Water, tea, beer. Beer is 3rd most popular drink on the planet. Beer goes back to the Neolithic period, about 10,000, 11,000 years. And beer's been going on for a long time. In medieval Europe, when monks went on fasts, that meant that they would stop drinking beer. In 2001, an elementary school in Belgium decided to serve their children during lunchtime low-alcohol beer as a more nutritious alternative to soda pop. This is Belgium. Happy National Refreshment Day today. And if you want to drink milk chocolate, that's cool too, because it's also National Milk Chocolate Day too. So whatever it is you want to do. Celebrate with somebody you love. It's 27 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Almost every significant Supreme Court decision since the last 150 years has had some sort of legal underpinning with the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, it's a big one, and it was ratified on this date, 154 years ago today, July the 28th, 1868. The Citizenship Clause, due process under law, the Equal Protection Clause. Read the 14th Amendment. It's got a lot of ambiguity in it, which is why it kind of fits into almost any puzzle that you want to build. But the 14th Amendment, probably one of the most significant amendments in this country's history, became the law of the land 154 years ago today. 108 years ago today, we got ourselves a war. Been building up for a couple of months. And finally, Hungary declares war on Serbia. And all the pieces came together and we got ourselves a war. It was called, of course, the Great War until World War II. Then it was retroactively called World War I. But World War I began on this date. The good guys, the British Empire, France, Russia, Serbia, Belgium, Italy, and Japan. Yeah, Italy and Japan were on our side in World War I. Romania, Portugal, China, Greece, and the United States. The bad guys, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire. And if you don't know how it finished, bone up on your history. World War I got going on this date 108 years ago today. 77 years ago today. The footage of this is remarkable. On a very rainy, foggy, cloudy Saturday morning in Midtown Manhattan, an incredible thing. An Army B-25 bomber, I think we have the footage, crashed into the Empire State Building on the 79th floor of the Empire State Building, killing 14 and injuring 26. There were only 3 people on the B-25. It was flying from Massachusetts to Newark, barely missed the Chrysler Building, and you couldn't even see the Empire State Building, and flew right into the north side of the Empire State Building on the 79th floor at 9:40 in the morning on a Saturday. This could have been a lot worse because there wasn't a lot of people working on a Saturday morning on the 79th and 80th floors of the Empire State Building. It made an 18 by 20 foot hole in the offices of the National Catholic Welfare Council, which luckily only had a few people in there. Again, of the 14 people who were killed, 3 were in the plane, 11 were in the building. 1 engine shot all the way through the building and fell 900 feet, landed on the roof of a nearby building and destroyed it. The other engine went down an elevator shaft. That was on a Saturday. By Monday, everybody went back to work. 77 years ago today. 57 years ago today, Lyndon Johnson went before the nation, said this Vietnam War thing ain't working out real good. We need more troops. Lyndon Johnson announced that they're going to increase the troop from 75,000 in South Vietnam to 150,000 American troops. He also lowered the requirements to get drafted. We're all in. 57 years ago today. 38 years ago today, we have footage of this. The games of the 23rd Olympiad officially opens in Los Angeles, California. The Montreal Games in 1976 were a financial disaster. And in 1977, when they opened the bids for who would host the 1984 Summer Olympics, Los Angeles was the only city even to bother to bid. They got it by default. Nobody else wanted it. Thanks to corporate sponsors, the Games made a profit. They made a net profit of $250 million. What do they do with that $250 million? Do they give it back to Los Angeles for building and improving all the athletic facilities? No. They kept it. This was the third consecutive Olympiad they had a boycott. So not all the member nations of the Olympic movement attended the Summer Games. As you know by now, the Soviet Union and 13 communist allies stayed home. They were paying back us for not going to Moscow in 1980. However, Romania and China did show up. And during the opening ceremonies, they had a huge ovation for China. It was their first Olympics since 1952, and now China is one of the most dominant Olympic teams. And of course, at the 1984 Games, the U.S. team benefited more than anybody else. They won 174 medals, 83 of which were gold. The Los Angeles Olympics opened on this date in 1984. And 26 years ago today, Will Thomas and David Deasy were floating on their inner tubes on the Columbia River watching the Columbia Cup hydroplane races, and they went over to a little beach bar to rest, and they found a human skull. Will Thomas and David Deasy found a human skull. They called the cops. The cops came and got the skull. They said it looks pretty old. They took it to the coroner in Kennewick, Washington. The coroner said, this is old, like really, really old, like thousands and thousands of years old. They went back. They dug up the site. They found the complete skeleton of Kennewick Man. And here come the lawyers. It was a 9-year process. The Army Corps of Engineers said it belongs to us. It's on our property. Scientists said, we really need to study this. This could be one of the earliest discoveries we've ever seen. The indigenous people of the Columbia River said, no, it belongs to us. I mean, the odds are pretty good. It's a Native American. They finally got it all straightened out. Kennewick Man was buried in a private ceremony on February 18th, 2017, with 200 undisclosed members of the local tribes participating. Only they know where Kennewick Man is. And finally, some birthdays. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. We normally don't do first ladies, but Jackie is an exception, an exceptional first lady. Think about this. She was sitting right next to her husband when his head got blown off. Not a lot of people can recover from that. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, the 37th First Lady of the United States, born in the state in 1929, died of cancer in 1994 at the age of 64. And speaking of cancer, Terry Fox, who only lived to be the age of 22, got cancer, had his leg amputated, decided to run across Canada from east to west. He never made it. The cancer recurred. He died, but he became an inspiration. Terry Fox, born in the state in 1958. Still to come, my conversation with Reshad Ahmad Noori and Doug Head. This is an incredible story of what Reshad and his family had to deal with. Please don't miss it. Plus an opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty. But first, Layla the cat needs a home. It's Pause for Pets.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley and I'm with the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and with me this week is Layla. Layla is a very sweet Siamese girl. She's actually pretty quiet for a Siamese. She has talked a little bit in like small chirps and things, but other than that, she's like not extremely vocal that we've noticed here in the shelter. Some of her favorite things include walking around. She in a previous home really liked going outside, so she would probably be best as an indoor-outdoor cat if you can provide that for her. Of course, providing the outside time after you've had her for a while, so that way she always knows where home is. She loves food. As you can see, she's a little bit thicker, but that's not slowing her down any. She's still she still has a healthy weight, and we're not concerned about it. Layla does need to be the only pet in the home. She does not do well with other cats or dogs, and she definitely lets you know she would like to be your one and only. But even though you couldn't have any other animals, she gives enough love for you. If you are interested in meeting Layla, you can come on down to our shelter. We are open 6 days a week. We are closed Wednesdays, but we are open from 11 to 6 and closed 1:30 to 2:30 for quiet time.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
It has really been a great partnership between Succession and NCW Life. It's not always easy to sit in front of a camera or a microphone, but you guys have made it a really nice process.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. I've been reading a book by Roman Catholic theologian Richard Rohr. Now, I have to say, I do think a lot of Rohr's questions and the theological dilemmas he faces would be clear to him if he was married, had a wife, and had kids. Okay, now, no disrespect to the Roman Catholic Church, but both of the mysteries and meaning of life and questions and stuff like that they might have been made clear to me simply because I'm married and I have a family. Now, learning to live and get along with someone else, particularly as someone who is as different and wonderful as Rosie is for me, has caused me to grow and change in ways I otherwise never would have. That's pretty simple, actually. If the Roman Catholic Church would just let their priests get married and have kids, they'd understand our life a whole lot better. I mean, just like you and me. Well, that is, if you're not a Catholic priest anyway. Well, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. A couple of months ago, we profiled some of the Ukrainian immigrants who have worked their way from that war-torn country here to the north central Washington area. Sizable community, not only in Wenatchee, but out in the Columbia Basin as well. Well, there's another story involving refugees from another war-torn area on the other side of the world. The remarkable story of how this gentleman and his family made it from escaping the clutches of the Taliban to make it right here, a little old Wenatchee town, United States, is a remarkable story. I think everybody knows Doug Head to my far left. Reshad, introduce yourself. Say hi to our television family. Let people know who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Reshad Ahmad Noori. I am from Afghanistan, and right now I am in the United States, Washington, Wenatchee.
And you made it here you got here in Wenatchee on July 5th.
Yes.
But let's go back in time to what was going on in your war-torn country and your remarkable, I don't want to say escape, but I can't think of another word. You got out of there, and it wasn't easy. Talk about that. Tell me, give me your background story.
Like in Afghanistan for 10 years, I was working for the NATO in different companies. in the Kabul airport. The army camp was located on the Kabul airport. On the 15 August, when Taliban came to Kabul city, so I was staying at home, and I was thinking to move from country because Taliban, on the past, they had problem with those people who was working for NATO, for the Americans. So because of that, we was scared. And I had some friends that I was working with them on 2013 till 2015. And he contacted me and he asked me about the situation of my family. And I told him that we are in this bad situation. Then he helped me with some guys who was in the airport, who was evacuating the people. His name was Alex. So he contacted me and he asked me, you would like to move from Afghanistan? And I said yes. So then they called me for 2 nights. They called me to come to the airport. They sent me some paper. It was pass for HKaya. The base name was HKaya. So they called me, they sent me a pass to get into the airport to move from there. For the first night when they called me and I went there was a lot of crowd around the airport. The airport have 3 gates and a lot of people, more than 1,000 people was trying to get inside to the airport to move. But nobody can do it because it was a lot of crowd, and the army, United States Army, and some other member of NATO, they was inside the airport on the walls, and they was checking the documents. They was calling only those people who called them to get inside to the airport. So I try on the first night, there was a lot of crowd. They called me to come 2 o'clock at night. I went there 11 o'clock at night and I wait till 2 o'clock. Then 2 o'clock, they write me to move from here because we couldn't make way to get you inside. Then I went back to my home, and tomorrow again I asked them and they sent me a message to come tonight 10 o'clock. And 10 o'clock when I went, they wrote me, still we have a lot of people. It was more than 100,000 people was around the airport. So then they wrote me, again, we cannot make the way to get you inside, so come back 2 o'clock at night. And I said, it's almost 10 o'clock, so I can wait like 5 hours more. And I wait there for 5 hours. I was waiting for my kids, with my wife, and my dad and my older brother also. They was helping me. They was with us, because from the other side, NATO members, they was firing some kind of fires to scare the people to not approach to the wall of the airport. And from the other side, Taliban was firing. Look, from the both sides was firing, kids was scaring a lot, and they was shouting. So that's why my dad and my older brother was staying with us. Then around 2 o'clock at night, they sent me a location to get exactly on this point. Like I was here, and they sent me a location for 30 meters far. And there was a dark place. It was next to the airport wall, and I get there. Then they call me, there is a metal from the net, from the metal made. So they opened that metal net, and they call me, get inside. Me, my wife, and my kids, we went inside. It was this much a small passage. We walked like 10 minutes. Then there was the other soldiers. They told us to stop, and they asked, who called you, how you came here. And I told them that Mr. Alex called me. I have been I had the badge of that HKaya camp. And I showed him that badge, and I told him that Alex called me. Then Alex was also, in 5 minutes, he came there, and he said, yes, he is Reshad. He have my photo and my kid's photo. He checked, and he said, you're good, come inside.
Who's running the airport? Is anybody running the airport? Or
that time, in the first day, I'm sure that you guys see on the people was falling down from the plane, from the sky. So after that day, all outside was Taliban, outside, but inside was controlling the NATO members, like Americans, Germans, a lot of members of NATO. They was inside, and they was running the airport.
And the whole time they're lobbing shells across the airport to each other, and you guys are in the middle of this.
Yes.
How did your kids handle this?
It was really hard, but I had a scarf. Their mom had a scarf, so we had only one backpack with one clothes for each of us. We don't have nothing else to take with us, and we was covering their ear to not hear the firing, but with the scarf you cannot cover it to not hear. They was hearing, they was shouting. One was little, she was 9 months old, but the other 4 years and 6 years old, they was scared a lot, and they were like something like shocked.
You got out?
Yes.
But I mean, at what point did you finally go, I'm out? Did that happen?
When we get inside, and Alex said that, yes, they are my guys, I know them. So then they take us inside to the base, like 4 hours. It was a place we just put our bags because all night we didn't sleep. So we just take a rest for 3-4 hours. We was waiting there. Then another US soldier, he came with a van, a pickup van. He told us to get on the van and they bring us to the plane. It was a charter flight. We sat on the plane, then they bring us to Abu Dhabi. When we are in Abu Dhabi, then we feel that yes, we moved from Afghanistan.
Do you feel let down by NATO, by the people who employed you? Do you feel like are you disappointed in their actions after they basically pulled the plug and left you guys on your own to get out?
I didn't.
Did you feel let down from NATO, the people who paid you?
Yes.
The people who you worked for, and then they just said you're on your own? I mean, are you disappointed in them?
In the first day, I was thinking, because in the first day I sent an email to Kabul, U.S. Embassy in Kabul, but they helped me. They told me if you work 10 years, and I provide them a lot of documents, because next day I burn all the documents. So I send them by email some documents. They send me, they help, everybody was help. When I was telling them that I have been work for the NATO, for the U.S., everybody was helping. So they send me the pass, everything. So then they take out us from Afghanistan.
Have you heard from your friends and family that you left behind in the province? Have you heard from them since you left and came here to America? Do you know what's going on there now?
Yes, my father, my brothers, my sisters, my whole family is in Kabul city. So I'm hearing every day, like every 2 days, I'm talking with my family, and I'm hearing from them.
Are they okay? Are they?
They are okay, but nobody is working. My brother, my father was working in some British embassy. My brother was working in one Indian company, and my smaller brother also, he was working for NATO. For 3 years he worked, but they're still at home. They're not going out. Sometimes when it's mandatory or something, it's urgent, then they are going.
Are you hoping that they come and join you here in the United States, or is there any hope that things will get back to some normalcy and you can return to your homeland? Is that what's the best case scenario there for you? Have your family come and visit
For
you?
me, the boat is the best way. If we have peace in our country, so I can go back to be near to my family. And if there is not a peace, so they are not also safe. With that government, nobody feels safe in Afghanistan. So both way I like to go there, or they come here, I will be very happy.
Doug, let's talk about your organization's involvement in all this. Again, Doug Head is joining me. How did this man's story end up on your radar, Doug?
Well, I think it was January, a group of us got together with the idea of putting together a committee or a team. And at that time, one of us in the group learned about this new model. So we know that a lot of refugees were sitting in refugee camps in Texas and New Jersey and Virginia, and the local resettlement organizations were overwhelmed with refugees. They might be used to getting 300 or 400 in a year, and now they're getting thousands. So they developed a new process where communities could put together a group of people who would support the relocation of an Afghan family and agree to raise enough money to replace the U.S. government benefits that the family would have received, and to help with housing and education and language learning, just really wrap around the family until the family is able to be independent. And of course, the goal is independence. He doesn't want us mixing up in his stuff for a long time, and we don't want to do that. We want them to be independent. So we put together an application. It's a government certification process, and we submitted it, and it was approved. And then we actually sat around and waited for somebody to accept our invitation. We didn't know he was in Abu Dhabi at the time, and so we went about 3 or 4 months with no action. One of the reasons is this isn't exactly a community with a lot of Afghans in it, right? I can't think of anybody, and I would know. I mean,
sure.
I have a long history working with Afghans and I was in the Peace Corps in Afghanistan, as you know. And then we actually talked about, well, should we disband or should we keep going? And we decided to keep going. And about 3 days later, we got notice from the umbrella organization that a family had accepted our invitation, and they would be here within about 2 or 3 weeks. So then we got fired back up and started getting more serious about raising money and finding a place for them to stay and that sort of thing. So there's about 14 of us that are engaged in this effort.
And there's a fundraiser, there's a GoFundMe page. We're going to show you that in just a little bit, trying to raise $25,000 to help Reshad and his family. This is going to sound like a stupid question I'm going to ask you anyway. How are you doing? All things considered, with what you've been going through for the last year and a half, how are you doing now?
Now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better because my kids, my family are happy. They have place. Like 9 months we was something that everybody, all the refugee was calling for Abu Dhabi. It's a prison, like a jail. So we are happy that we are get rid of that place. So we are happy. Everybody is happy right now.
Doug is a nice guy by nature. That being said, do you feel welcomed here in the Wenatchee Valley?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
And the kids are doing okay?
Yes, they are doing good.
Okay. Taking English lessons?
Yes, they are joining the museum. There is some camp on the museum. So like a week ago that they are going there.
And so what's your initial next plan? You have a place to live, which is good. You'll be moving in here soon. And then find a job and get settled and assimilate and get into become part of the Wenatchee Valley, I suppose.
Yes, the next part when I'm going to settle to the apartment. After that, I'm planning to take the driving license. Then after that, I will start job.
Doug, how do we help? How do the people who are watching this show and the people in North Central Washington, how do we help this man and his family out?
Well, I think we need to start with the fact that they left Afghanistan with a backpack. So they did not bring their belongings with them. So, and basically when we picked them up at the airport, they had a couple more backpacks that they'd gotten in Virginia, I assume. Yes. So we're starting out with a family that has needs for just about everything. And so we're raising money to meet those needs until they get on their feet and become independent. And I'm always going to say that. It is Reshad's duty to get a job and be independent of us. In the meantime, we've helped them to sign up for the benefits that are available to them, get the kids' medical insurance. The 6-year-old Mehrin will be going to
school,
Washington Elementary. We hope Miriam will probably go to Head Start, I think.
Yes.
So we have all these things in motion. So as it would be no secret for me to tell you that rent is expensive in Wenatchee, right? And so we've got to be able to help out until the time where Reshad can take care of things himself. So I think most of the money we raise is going to end up paying rent for a while, and then some other helping to furnish the apartment and things like car insurance. And you know, if we look at our own personal expenses, they're going to have a lot of those expenses. Mm-hmm. And 3 kids. Kids need clothes. Kids need to eat. Yeah. You need school supplies. Yeah. It's an endless list. Yeah. Yeah. So. But I'm so impressed that already lots of people are stepping up. I mean, Reshad told me this morning that somebody gave him a pat on the back and said, how great you're doing in the elevator at the hotel.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so people are learning about this, and they're rallying, just as they're doing the same for the Ukrainian refugees. So, so we're grateful, and if people I learned something in this process. Maybe you know it, maybe you don't know it. My kids who are in their plus 30s and their friends, and the Afghan kids who you may remember about 10, 15 years ago, we had a whole group of Afghan kids who were in the Wenatchee Valley as high school students. Well, they all tell me they don't have checkbooks anymore. I thought, you don't have checkbooks anymore? Well, it turns out you have to have gray hair to have a checkbook. So GoFundMe is the way people like to support these kinds of things. So we've got that GoFundMe page out there. It's got some nice pictures of Reshad and his girls. And so if people can use that as a way to pitch in and help, we'd be so grateful. And we've got a very responsible group of people from Wenatchee, people who are known and trusted, who are guiding the process.
Doug and I have checkbooks. Reshad does not. We'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. You could not have landed in a better place, and I mean that sincerely, because this is one of the best places to live anywhere. This is a giving community. It's a caring community. Yeah. It gives a damn, and you're going to be just fine.
Yes.
I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. This is good people, and this is a good area.
Yes, yes. I saw them in this like 3 weeks ago. So I'm speaking. I'm meeting them. So all of these guys are great. They're very helpful, and they're helping us.
I'm glad I could do my small little part. Again, the GoFundMe page is up and running there. Last I checked, it was less than 10,000. Their goal is 25,000. We can do better than that, folks. Let's get it taken care of. The link will be up on your screen. And anything we can do to help you too, you have an open invitation. You have an open invitation to come on my show anytime you want. Doug, I'm going to ask you to call in.
We'll negotiate.
Yeah, we'll negotiate that. Anything you need from us, we'll be more than happy to help you out.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we're going to be right back.
The new Hummer EV is everything you want in an all-electric vehicle. It's powerful, reliable, comfortable, and will take you anywhere you want to go, on-road or off. Why buy one of those lesser EVs when you can have one that uses them for traction? Order your Hummer pickup or SUV today from Sangster Motors, batteries included.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled out the new line of custom e-bikes. They have three-way adjustable folding e-bikes and full-size mountain e-bikes. Pedal assist and a throttle makes them a perfect fit for any rider. Green Motion e-bikes, located in the Mills Brothers building.
It has really been a great partnership between Succession and NCW Life. It's not always easy to sit in front of a camera or a microphone, but you guys have made it a really nice process.
Just about ready to wrap up this Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Right now in Wenatchee, it is 82 degrees. Now, yesterday at this time, it was 77 degrees. So we're already 5 degrees ahead of schedule. We're going to break a record today. Other temperatures around the region right now. Afraid is at 86. Quincy is at 90. 83 in Manson. It's hot everywhere. And take a look at your forecast from the National Weather Service. Yeah, 107. Now, our record high temperature on this date, 105 degrees. That was on July 28th, 1998. We're going to bust that by a couple of degrees, maybe even more than that. 77 for the overnight low. This big dome of high pressure is sitting right over the top of the Pacific Northwest. So we do it again. Just that radiant, hot, baking, dry heat, 107 on Friday, 106 on Saturday, back up to 107 on Sunday. Now, the National Weather Service's excessive heat warning was extended until 11 o'clock Saturday night. They're going to extend it again through Sunday, obviously, if you see that. And then we gradually see it cool down. That ridge is going to gradually migrate out of our area, but it's going to take its sweet time doing it. No real relief from the oppressive heat until Tuesday of next week. I hope your air conditioner works, and I hope you have access to a swimming pool. That's it for us. Have a great Thursday. Stay cool. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.